let's go on and take a look at crude oil on Tuesday. So we're looking at crude on the 5-minute chart with the Weiss wave now instead of standard volume. And in the middle of the chart, right around the US Open, we get a nice spring in an uptrend. And we like those. We like those a lot. I'm going to go through 8 critical points on springs and upthrusts, I think, after this, after going through crude oil on Tuesday, and you'll see why I like them in an uptrend. Just in general, they're a long trade, right? And you've got higher highs and higher lows going in. You got nice demand over supply here coming in. And so you come back to support. This is your support level at A. You rally up to B. You come back down here at C. And you have failure to follow through in an uptrend. Notice in this case, it's not always the case, and it's not necessary, but you have no supply here on the spring. Also, more importantly, is that you don't have large supply coming down. The volume coming, we got okay volume here, right? And we're just going sideways, kind of holding gains. That's that effort versus result I was talking a little bit about, right? There is some effort to sell off in here, but somebody's coming in, somebody being bigger traders, they're coming in and they're buying it, they're meeting it in here. And so that sets up a nice spring situation for us. Now, let me caution you about something. Technically, there is a minor spring here, okay, and the volume's low and all of that. But look, you really do, I mean, you can take this, you'd probably be out on one of these bars in here, or certainly by this bar, if you did take it. So they're going to be forgiving, especially if you are doing it in an uptrend. But I like to see space in between the swings here, not just a little minor thing like this. You know, you could say this is a spring too, and technically it is a spring with a test here. There's a spring. You can start doing those kind of trades if you want to kind of really press the envelope. But my suggestion is sit on your hands, be patient, and wait for the really obvious, clean, clear, you know, kind of picture perfect, if you will. Nothing is ever picture perfect, but you know, make it, it's got to look nice, is what I'm trying to say. So we've got perfect background conditions in here, a good solid uptrend, then sideways movement, holding gains in here, and then they do the spring. And we rally up, and we come back, and what we were talking about earlier, there's another little bit of testing going on in here. And again, the idea behind a test is that it's going to follow some demand. Here we have demand over supply. Good volume coming up. That's quite a bit of volume. That's more volume than we've seen before. And so they come back and they test it. They're coming back into the area where the high volume was, and they're seeing, is there any supply? Because even though we're going up, there is selling in this high volume, and it's coming back to test. They don't find any, and so you look for an opportunity to go long. And you can, you know, we talked about the different ways of entering here on this. Then as we rally up, we get little sweet spots in the trend. We get 2 of them up in here. And they occur nicely on old resistance, turns into now new support. The volume dries up, and we've got strong upside volume. And that goes into the noon hour here. Now we get a couple of those. So nice trade setups in here. A spring, the test of the spring, and 2 of the sweet spots. I mean, this would make your week, for goodness sakes, if you traded these 3 trades on this. But that swing low at point A is a rather innocuous one. Is it not the swing low at point A? I'm sorry, where's point A? Oh, this here, you mean? This here? Yeah, generally I'd like to see it deeper, but look at all the time you've got going sideways here. So time factors into it a little bit, and you're in an uptrend, okay? So generally, yes, you're right. You'd want to see something a little bit more obvious down there, a little bit better pullback. But because we've got time and it's just not going to pull back in here, the volume gets low. And then we do get a decent rally off of it, and then we do come down pretty well, and we come underneath of it and then start moving up. This is a nice, I wouldn't take this as a spring, you know, if we had a down move into this and then we just went sideways and this would not be a good spring. But we can do this in an uptrend. It's okay to do that in an uptrend. I've seen people even do these kinds of trades and uptrends, and they can work. They're just not my favorite. That's pushing the envelope a little bit too far, in my judgment. But yeah, good comment there, Robert. Would you pyramid this trade? Oh yeah, you could certainly pyramid it right in here, or you could, if you were in this, or let's say you got in on the test and you come up, you look at the demand come in. You pull back, and then you get this nice little sweet spot in here on such low volume. You could certainly pyramid that. No question about it. Given, the parameters of your account and your risk and all of that, I got to say that. But yeah, this would be a great example of where, if all of that met your criteria and your money management criteria, this is a good spot for adding on to your trade. What is the real advantage when we use these setups with multi-time frame references? Is it that it will increase the odds of the setup success, or those spots are more likely to trigger a much bigger swing? It's the latter. Well, it's both. It's both, but it really is the latter. So if you have an hourly chart and it's showing strong price movement up here, and then we're going sideways, right, for a couple of hours, or however long this is, from 6 to 9, 3 hours, basically have narrow range going sideways, and you get a 5-minute spring in that situation, there's no supply from the narrow range of the 3 hourlies. There's good demand on the wide spreads up on the hourlies, and so you're using the 5-minute to trigger it on a multi-time frame basis. That's right. But I don't want to try to explain all of that in this seminar. Maybe in a different or webinar. Maybe in another webinar we can do that. Let's move on to